hear different ranges. Yes. Like there is a dog whistle. You know that? Yes. If you blow a dog whistle, the dog whistle is outside this frequency. So the dog will come running, but you cannot hear it. Because your sense cannot perceive, dog sense perceives. There are some other very interesting things. When there are earthquakes that happen, there have been a lot of discussion in the scientific community when earthquakes happen, how we could detect earthquakes. Because so that we can tell people that earthquakes happen. So one thing several scientists have observed, this is an inference, please remember, is that they have seen that whenever an earthquake is about to happen or something, most of the animals run away from there. Okay, so apparently it seems that their senses somehow catch this input from the earth that something is going wrong. Me and you cannot. We are peacefully sitting and doing our work, and suddenly there is music. So they are looking at that also as a model. So basically the thing is, our senses are not perfect, right? Every sense. This is okay? Yeah. Senses are not perfect, and because senses are not perfect, because of this, there is also a lot of relativity in what we talk. I perceive something some way, somebody else perceives something in a different way. Very good. So now we come to the next point, which I call as so because of imperfect senses, what happens? That means when my senses are imperfect, what happens? Can anybody tell me what happens? What is the outcome of this? Yeah, anybody with a raise of hand? Yeah? Okay, no, one second. I just see somebody else. Okay, Varun, go ahead. Yeah.
We don't take complete information of what's around.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, very good. We don't take complete information. So that's an intermediate point. So because of that, what happens if I ask?
We conclude differently because if we...
Very good. Yes, we conclude differently. So this is what in our language is called as illusion. Illusion means you see something to be something when it is actually something else. That's the result of imperfect senses. Let's have a look at that. So the second one is to be illusion. I'm very sorry, this LCD projector is not projecting properly. It's cutting something from the top, cutting something from the sides. I'll just try to, maybe from next time we're going to meet mostly in that 140 There it is better. So look at this. Okay, sorry, I'll leave this one. And look at this one here. What do you see here? These are some very standard images from the internet on optical illusion. What do you see here? Triangle. You see a white triangle. Did I draw it? No, I did not. There is no white triangle. There is an imaginary white triangle. Make sense? We didn't draw a white triangle. I have just made these three things. But we are making up a white triangle. Who are these? Or maybe it's an old man and an old woman. It could be an old man and an old woman, or it could be this fellow with a guitar and this fellow some lady coming out of that place. Yeah. So depends, illusion. Depends what it is. Yeah? What's this? A very famous picture. Any of you have seen this picture before? Okay, great. You will enjoy this. One second. What? This is an old woman or a young? You have seen this before? What is this? What is picture? Whose picture do you see here? A woman? Is the woman young or old? Old. Generally, boys see young women only. I'm not sure the reason why, but perhaps some other agenda. There is a old and a young, both. Okay, so just to tell you, the young woman is facing that side. This is her eye. This is her nose and this is her chin. The old woman is facing this side. This is her eye, this is her nose, this is her mouth and this is her chin. You see the old woman as well? Now everybody can see both? Yes. Can see both? Yeah, very good. नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है? कौन? Old. Yes. Old not able to see old woman. Huh? Great. Okay, I'll try to explain once again where the old woman is here. This is the old woman's nose. This is her mouth. This is her chin. She is looking this side. This is the old woman's one eye and the other eye. called as illusion. So please note, illusion happens all the while. So, okay, it's very interesting again. You just feel that the cylinders are moving, going right and some kind of an optical effect over there. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, this one also. So if you just stare at it a little carefully, sometimes it would appear that these figures are moving, but they're just plain and stationary. It's all illusion. It's all illusion. These three men are of the same height, by the way, though it may not immediately be understandable. Yeah, so this, it could look like a row of ships, but from far, due to the cloud effect, it may even look like a bridge at one point. It's not really sure. This looks like ships, at least here it looks like a ship suddenly, but from this point onwards it looks like bridges. So they are not sure whether there are a series of ships or there is a bridge. Bridge के आगे एक ship खड़ा है. This is not sure. Optical illusion. Great. Okay, so the next thing, because of illusion, so from here you come here and from here you come here. Because of the illusion, what happens is we commit mistakes. You understand mistakes? To err is human. Have you heard the saying? And to forgive, divine. To err is human. That means every human being tends to make mistakes. Right? Every human being tends to make mistakes. Even big people, they tend to make a mistake. Big politicians, big people also make a mistake. Because the human tendency to make mistakes. Every human is included. So even in science, we have made mistakes. Right? Like for example, at one point of time, scientists would consider the pituitary or the master gland as a vestige or a useless tissue in the body. Whereas today it's considered as master gland, most important tissue. You understand this? So it's like, you just take an about turn totally. Especially in medicine, if you carefully observe, several times several theories are thought of. But after some time, there is a whole change, and they say that is wrong, and then somebody else says, no, this is wrong. So there are a lot of mistakes constantly happening. We are not really sure about what happens. So this is another very interesting mistake, which is alive. It's like, have you seen that in astronomy, scientists use terms like such and such star is 1 million light years away? Yes. So how do they come to know the distance? Do they measure it with a tape? Obviously not. So what they are doing is, they get light from those objects on one scale and they multiply that with a constant which is called as Hubble's constant. So this Hubble is an astronomer, American astronomer whose name was Edwin Hubble. In 1929 he proposed the constant. It is supposed to be a constant, you understood? Because they multiply that with some value to get this thing. In the last 80 years it has changed some 30-40 times. You can see that. So nowadays astronomers call it the Hubble's variable. I mean, kind of jokingly, because it changes always. And whenever it changes, what happens? Everything associated with that also changes. So it's basically a mistake. Okay, this is not very serious, but this is the last one of the most serious of all. And that's really where we want to talk about something. Can you tell me, when a human commits a mistake, now you have to be very realistic. We cannot be very idealistic. You know what is idealistic and realistic? Right? So when a person commits a mistake, in reality, what does he try to do?
Our best teacher is the mistake. Our best teacher is the mistake. Our mistake.
Our best
Teacher is our mistake.
I didn't understand. What does it mean? Okay, very good. I understood your point. You are saying that when we commit mistakes, we learn from them.
Yeah.
I understood that. That is good. We can learn from that and go ahead. But I am saying in general, when humans commit big blunders, what do? They ignore it. Something more severe.
The challenge others to defend themselves.
Okay, that's something more closer. What I'm expecting?
Seek comfort. Seek comfort.
Comfort, okay.
Correction.
Correction, they try to correct it. Okay. Try to escape, more close. Cover up. Very good. It's a human tendency, please remember, to cover up your mistakes. I mean, from childhood. As a child, when we did some mess in our home, and when our mother would catch us or something, what do? You cover up. It's the first thing you try to do. Cover up. In India today, most humans. Just imagine if a human being in India is driving a car at night when there is nobody on the road and he knocks a person down. Will he very honestly take that body to the police and say, "Mere haath se galti ho gayi"? What does he do? Human tendency. You run away. Unless some CCTV camera caught you. Yesterday in Delhi there was one guy who was knocked down at 5:50 in the morning. I don't know if you saw the news. Anyway, every day so many people are dying. Cover up. So basically I'm using the word here cheat. I know it's a very strong word. But actually it is a tendency of human generally to cheat. That's an extreme. Especially when we do this, when there is money for something very important for us at stake. Money over something very important at stake. I'll give an example from your perspective. All of your students. Let us say you're appearing for a practical exam in physics or electronics. Right? Practical exam. You have to do something. And let us say the teacher says that you have to plot a graph of your observation. And let us say you're supposed to get a linear straight line, but you're getting something like this. You know that from the textbook, in the physics textbook or electronics textbook, it is written that when you plot the readings, straight line aana chahiye. But you are getting some hyperbola, parabola or some other stuff. What does a student do most of the time? What is that called in student language? Manipulation. Student uses the word manipulation. What a manipulation? That means what? This point which is here, bring it little bit over here. थोड़ा सा इधर लेके और लाइन टीचर को बोलेगा फर्स्ट क्लास लाइन मिला. It's a tendency of human to cover. This tendency is there everywhere. And when there is money involved, the tendency is even more. Just like recently I've been reading some books that say that Pune or in many places in India actually or even in the world, to go to a hospital nowadays is actually a very dangerous proposition. It's better to be healthy oneself. Most hospitals, even very reputed ones, in our city and our country, if you see, the doctors, what they do is, they prescribe so many tests when they know that those tests need not be done. In doctor language, that is called as cut commission. They send you to one other agency to do blood test, urine test, everything. And when you come back, just like I have a good friend actually, he's a doctor, he's very big, I don't want to name it, he's in Pune only. So he told me that he joined that hospital recently. So what happened is that his friend, colleague, who was working in the hospital for a long time, he was on leave for 3 days. So he told my friend, "Agle 3 din mein nahi hu, you only take care of my 4 patients." So he said, okay. He went and he took their file. And then he saw that the disease that they have, they are not being given the right medicine. He changed the medicine. Same day, all those 5 people recovered. And he discharged them. 3 दिन के बाद हमारा friend आया वापस from his leave. And he came and asked, "Where are my patients?" He said, "I changed the medicine, they recovered." I went, "No." He said, "Why did you change the medicine?" He said, "No, you were giving the wrong medicine." The main doctor said, I know that. But our hospital has given us target that so many people, you should, when a person comes to your hospital, how many days you should put him on bed, how many injections you should give him. So you are money. Correct? How do you earn money? I understand what I'm saying. So what is that called as? So this happens whenever something is at stake. I'll give one example from my own profession. We need not simply criticize others. Okay? So just like, there are scientists and others or professors in college who do research. Right? All of you understand? And this costs money. So who gives money for all the research? Government gives money. Government gives sanction 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 15 lakhs for various projects. Now suppose some professor takes 5 lakhs from university to do research. And most of the time when they do this research, nothing happens. Understood? It's very difficult to conclude something. So 5 lakhs, suppose if I buy some equipment for 5 lakhs, and I find nothing, everything blows up. Can I write a very honest report to the university saying that I'm very sorry, I took 5 lakhs from you, but nothing happened? Everything burned, the chemicals they burned, and there was a big fire, and somehow we stopped the fire. The 5 lakhs is over now. Please give another 10 lakhs. Will they give you? So what do you do? What do people do in general? Yeah, what do people? Yeah, process is going on. We need more money. Please send the next installment of 10 lakhs. Are you getting it? Good. So this is called as cheating. Now I'm using one very interesting example in this, which I think I'll tell you. This is from the domain of Darwin's theory of evolution. So let's go a little bit into the Darwin's theory of evolution to discuss something on it. So what does Darwin's theory of evolution talk about? It talks about? Very good. It talks about what he calls as the survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. And what is another very important mantra that he uses? Evolution. Evolution, where survival of the fittest. How do this actually come up? So there is something called as natural selection. I wonder if you have heard it. Have you heard or not?
Yes.
That means basically Darwin's idea is that nature selects certain features in in different regions, because of which and only the fit survive. That's his own philosophy. So please remember, it is a theory. You know what's a theory? Theory means it's not like we say law of gravity, law of thermodynamics. We don't say law of evolution. What do we say? Theory of evolution. Difference समझ गए ना? That means this is an inference. When I come to inference and talk about it, nobody has perceived it. Has anybody seen monkey becoming man? No. Don't see any becoming. Neither do you see, any. So I give you an example. So the thing is, one challenge in Darwin's theory was of intermediate species. You understand intermediate species?
Yeah.
That means there is ape and there is human being. So there is ape and there is human. Human in biology is called as Homo sapiens sapiens. And again, I will not confuse you with that. I will just call it human. So from ape to human, when you have to come, does it happen that from the ape immediately you get human?
No.
So what is supposed to happen? Intermediate species. According to Darwin and many evolutionists, there are supposed to be 13 intermediate species between ape and human. Something that looks, in between. Unfortunately, fossil record. All of you understand what is a fossil?
Yes.
Fossil means you dig the earth and you get, the bones and the kind of the dead remnants of somebody who was buried long, long ago. Fossils have not supported Darwin's theory by and large. However, so there are these scientists or this group of people who are called as archaeologists. You understand what an archaeologist is? An archaeologist is one who digs the earth and finds fossils. So now you imagine, see, generally when do you become famous in the world? When something that is rare you find, you become famous, right? All of you understand what I'm saying? If something is rare and you find it, what happens? You become famous. If something is regular and you find it, if suppose somebody digs the earth and says that I found a dead human being, people will say, Papa, put it inside. Or if I say I dug the earth and I found a dead dog, it's not considered very important because it's not dead. But suppose if somebody says I dug the ground and found an intermediate species, then what happens? You become famous. And when you become famous, what happens? You get money. You get prestige. You get recognition.
Fans.
Huh?
Fans.
Yeah, you get fans. Why not? So basically, there is a very interesting book. You can Google it and find out. Called as Forbidden Archaeology. It is written by 2 American scientists. Forbidden Archaeology. This book talks about several dozens of cases of fraud in archaeology, where many people, like there was this very famous case in Britain called Pintown, where one archaeologist said that we found an intermediate species which has the skull of a human and the jaw of an ape. But after 40-50 years, others understood that actually the jaw was also a human jaw only, and this fellow had done some surgery to it and make it look like a ape, and he had kept it there in the ground just to become famous. You understood? So these are all practical examples I'm talking of human tendency, which is to cheat. So does everybody agree with this thing? So till now what have we done? We started by talking about sources of knowledge. So what are the first source of knowledge? Perception. And in perception, how did we actually, what are the challenges of perception? The human perception, like relativity as he pointed out. And mainly there are 4 challenges. Our senses are not perfect. And because the senses are not perfect, we fall under illusion. And when we fall under illusion, we commit a mistake. And when you commit a mistake, and if something is very important, you commit a mistake and something is at stake, you understand what is at stake, right? Your money is at stake, your position is at stake, then you tend to cheat and hide back. Human tendency. So these are the problems with perception. So this is how Nyaya Shastra begins by talking about perception. So it doesn't mean that we don't believe in perception. Perception is useful. For some things we have to perceive only and understand. But we should be aware of the challenges. We shouldn't think that everything should be understood only by perception. That is not possible. Right? Very good. So now we go to any question at this point? Anybody has any quick question or comment before I take it ahead? We have a lot of stuff to cover, but any quick question? Okay, great. I'll go ahead. If you have any questions, you can always ask. Yeah, so now we come to the second method, which is called as inference. Inference in Sanskrit is called as anuman. So in Hindi also we use the word anuman karna. Anuman lagana. So anuman means inference. To infer. There is some guesswork involved in it. So basically I will talk about inference by taking 2 examples on the board and tell you the theory of inference. So the Nyaya Shastra, the science of logic and reasoning, details